Hi, my name is Judy and I'm the City Stitcher, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. Today is Sunday, June the 9th. Yeah, it's June. So this is being filmed at least 10 days later than I thought I was going to be filming it. But yeah, as usual, running behind, but at least I have things to show, so that's positive. If you are new to this channel, thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me. This is a channel, I just realized I forgot to bring any of the crochet out here, so we won't be doing crochet this week. Like I do a video every week. That doesn't happen. This is a channel primarily about cross stitching and the stitching that I've done since my last video. And usually there is a crochet segment, but apparently in my rush to get all my stuff pulled together so I can get this recorded while it's still daylight hours, I forgot to bring the crochet. So we'll do crochet next week. It'll all be fine. Yeah, so yeah, I hope everybody's had a good time. Like I say, this is being recorded a little later than I thought it was going to be recorded, but we are having a reasonably sunny day today, which is good. I've got some relatives, they're not staying with me. I have some cousins that are in from Ontario. They're staying with my parents, so I spent sort of a bunch of time today with them. So I've just recently gotten home and went, you really need to get everything pulled together, and while there's sunlight, get it recorded and all this kind of stuff. So if it feels like a little like get a grip here, it's like sometimes like get your thing done. All right. Let's talk about comments on the last video. So thank you for those of you on all the congratulations on my many glorious finds at the Ujama Grandma's Fabrics and Yarn Sale. Yeah, I did make out like a bandit. I'm like, yeah, I too was very pleased with my purchases. So yeah, so somebody had a question whether or not the sale is every year, and the answer is yes. This is an annual event that for the most part they start from scratch every year. Now, in every area has the option that if they look at things that are left towards the end of the sale that nobody's picked up, each department gets to assess whether or not if it's of a value where they go, yeah, it didn't sell this year, but it's still, we should hold on to this and see if we can't sell it at the next sale. But is there tons of stuff that the departments keep back? No, not really. So from my perspective, my answer is like, yeah, this is an annual event, and every year the donations are sufficient to take over a curling rink size of area and have this fantastic sale that runs for 3 days. So yeah, it's a great event. I laughed. I was having a chat with my mom afterwards, and she's like going, I don't go anymore. I don't go anymore because I would be so tempted and I would want to know these things and I would come up with all these ideas, and I have enough stuff in the house that I'm going to stick with that. So she doesn't go anymore because she doesn't want to be tempted. I shouldn't be going, and I go. Maybe one of these years the only fabric that will be donated is brown fabric, or anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's a great event. It's an annual sale. It's, yeah, if you're ever in the area around the time that the fabric and yarn sale is, if nothing else, come for the experience one time. Hey, like everything in life, it may be your thing, it may not be your thing. That's totally okay. But clearly I go multiple times, and there have been years where I've gone back. I haven't just gone on one day. I've as a shopper, I have actually gone. There have been years where I've gone more than once. Yeah. Anyway. So someone also made the comment that, you know, they were very pleased for my purchases of the fully finished cross-stitch items, and it was a little sad to see them at this type of an event, that it was sort of being, you know, that it had been donated for sale. And I understand that perspective where someone can sort of say, like, someone spent that much time, and it's sad that that the person's family or friends, you know, don't value it and see all the work that went into it. We as stitchers know all the work that went into it, and we appreciate it. You know, in my own family, I am, you know, even in my extended family, I am the last stitcher, period. And the answer is nobody has any interest in it whatsoever. None. You know, they've got relatives who did it, so they have the knowledge to sort of say, I appreciate how much time it takes and how much work went into it, and I understand that, but I don't like the finished product. You know, it's nice and all that, and I'm glad you enjoy it, but I don't want it. You know, so everybody, to my way of thinking, cross stitch is like art, right? Not everything appeals to everybody. You know, there are people who really love punch needle, and you know, that's great. If that's your thing, that's fantastic. It's not my thing. I don't like it. I don't like how it looks. Again, I have enough knowledge that I can appreciate, you know, that it takes time and how it works together, and I can appreciate what went into create the finished product, but I don't like punch needle stuff. I don't like how it looks at the end. So to me, I appreciate the fact that we are taking things that have been donated from someone who won't really love the item, and it goes from somewhere, it goes into someone's home where they really generally really want it. So clearly the ones that I bought, I was just like thrilled to death and went, these are mine. I think back to the conversation that I had with the lady who was taking the little boy blue and pinky and one other one, and she was just like, you know, she was thrilled to death. I was thrilled to death. So when I look at them, I go, I very much appreciate that we are taking these pieces of work, and so for whoever stitched them, you know, in my head I go, I hope you know that the thing that this is going into a home where it is going to actually be cherished. And you know, that I get to look at my wall and go, look at that lovely sweet pea gazebo, and I didn't have to stitch it myself, and doesn't it look lovely? So I like the fact that they're going from somewhere where clearly, whether it didn't fit somebody, you know, could be somebody who's just downsizing, and I went, out of all of my stitched pieces, you know, this one isn't going to make the cut. We all have things where we go back and look at them and go, you know, my tastes have changed, whatever, however it came to be there. To me, I go, if nothing else, at least they're going to somewhere, as far as I can tell, where someone's like, I really, really like this, and it's going to be cherished. So I appreciate that. Someone also asked the question about, because they saw my fabric and yarn sale haul from last year. That's also available. It's bad. I should maybe start making. I should maybe start a Ujamagramma's playlist. Don't forget that their Bags, Babies, and Beyond sale is coming up. I think it's in October at some point. I will confirm dates later on this channel as we get closer to the event. If you want to know about that one, I will be attending that one as well. But somebody asked whether or not I had used any of the upholstery swatches from those upholstery swatch books that I got at last year's sale. And the answer is no, not yet. However, there is a plan in place that hopefully before the end of this year, I will have used some of those swatches. So stay tuned. If all goes according to plan, some of those swatches will actually be used for cross-stitch projects, turning them into fully finished objects, and you'll get to see that on my channel when that happens. Am I giving you an estimate as to when that's going to happen? Of course not. There's no point me giving an estimate because we're not. Anyway, my estimate is hopefully before the end of the year. So that still gives me, you know, over 6 months to get my act together and get some stuff done. So good time range there. So hopefully you'll be seeing that, and you'll get to see what I do with those magic swatches. And then I laughed. Someone made a comment, it's like, I wish I lifted closer because I would be taking that brown fabric off your head. It's like, yeah. There are fabric colors for everybody of all kinds. So anyway, all right. So thank you for all of your comments on that video. I did promise on that one that we would, not on the next video, but the one subsequent to that is when I would do the drawing for the 2 things that I'm giving away. If you're interested in those 2 things, the magic words are in the previous video. And you need to comment on that video, not this one, in order to be entered into the draw for that, which I will do the draw for that prior to the next video, which I'm expecting to be probably either, if all goes according to plan, should be occurring either on June 30th or July the 1st. So that is when I expect the next video is going to get recorded. All right, with that, let's get into some stitching because I have things to show. And as I was putting these things together, I was kind of laughing, going, some of this is actually April stitching, but you'll be fine with that because I didn't really show what happened at the end of April because it was all you jamagrammas. So at the beginning of April, I was working on finishing Vimy Ridge, and I got that finished, and then I got the April Quaker finished, and then I got something else finished. Like I'm sure I had three finishes in the month of April alone before we get to what I'm going to show you now. And my reward for that was that I was going to start something new. And it is called Medley by Heirloom Embroideries. This is what this looks like. It's not very big, and I started and finished it. So this is what it looks like. I stitched this on, wait for it, the called for fabric, 28 count Antique White Jobelan, using, wait for it, the called for colors. I did that as well. Now there are some Dinky Dyes silk, so Blue Mountains Dinky Dyes silk, Dinky Dyes Pearl Cotton 8 in Mother of Pearl, and Dinky Dyes Pearl Cotton 12 also in the color Mother of Pearl, and that's used, you know, sort of like, so this borders, essentially the borders, this one, and this interior border are all used, and like the Blue Mountains is used, you know, when you see this kind of variegation. Now it also calls for a couple of NPI silks, which I did have in my stash, and so I used them. The amounts of NPI that is being used in this is really, really, really small. So I would have to say I used it because I did have it in my stash. If you don't have it in your stash, I would say don't bother. Don't bother with the NPI silks for this. Just go with the DMC equivalent. I don't think she gives a DMC equivalent, but I think you can find a DMC equivalent online for NPI to DMC. So yeah, if you don't have it in stash, I would say for what you're going to use in this project, I wouldn't purchase it myself. And then the other change I made, because you know I have to change something. In this bottom, this is a Mill Hill Treasure. It's a really big heart, and I did purchase it. So I did actually have it, and I just like, it's just huge. I mean, it fits in the square, but I was just like, I didn't like how it looked. So I just got a couple of these Mill Hill rondelles and just attached them just to fill in the space, and went, that's good enough for me. Yeah, so this is Right, so these are the fibers that are used in that project, which can now get put away properly because I've now shown it on Flosstube. So yeah, so that's my start and finish for the project towards the end of May. Medley by Heirloom Embroideries. So that was my 4th finish in the month of April. So April was a very productive month for me. And as usual, I did not plan out where the stuff is going after I show it very well. Okay, let's do some juggling. Hopefully I will remember where I put things. And then I still had a little bit of time left over in April. So I pulled out Jerusalem again. Did a little bit of work on this. I don't know that, you know, given how frequently you're seeing these videos, that you'll be able to see it. And I don't think I even took a picture before I did this. But I did get some more filled in over here. I am using Sarah the Stitch and Mummy's typewriter method. So I am working on pages 3, 4, and 5 together because I've got it in Markup RXP. And so I'm using her typewriter method. So I'm finding the symbol that's at the top, and then usually what I'm doing is I'm trying to find as much as that I can based on what I already have available that I can get to. If there's more of that color, but it's, you know, way down here underneath where I'd have to turn the scroll rod, I don't bother with that. So I'm waiting till everything gets completed down to here, because then I'm going to start hitting the colors that are used in this building, which means once I hit the building, we're gonna get, that's not true, wrong side, over here. This is where I'm at. Here are the trees. It's funny when I can't figure it out. Once I hit the building, because you know, there's a decent healthy chunks of colors in here. You know, for what I'm doing right now, it is sort of the like it's really random about where stuff is and where it's going. So yeah, so got a little bit more done on that. I know I had grandiose plans that hopefully I could finish page 4 and 5 this year. I've come up with some new plans for August, which we'll talk about not this month, but probably next month, which might bump this off a little bit. We'll see. I'm still mulling. We've got lots of time before we hit August, right? So I did a little bit more on Jerusalem. And then before we get to the thing that I spent most of my May stitching time on, let's talk about May stitching at the library. So I continued to work on my butterfly square by Little Leaf Designs. I've already stitched this once. I'm stitching the second one because I want to do a small pillow and have both sides be exactly the same. So I'm stitching the other side. But I made really good progress on this at Stitching at the Library. I made good progress. So I finished this blue. So I had probably about, you know, one side plus a little bit on a third side that left to go. So I finished all of the blue. Then I got all of this light pink. It's not even pink. It's purple. I don't know my colors. The light purple done on all 4 sides, and even got started on the darker purple. So I made really good progress on this when I was at the library. Because once I finished that, then we're into sort of this satin stitch border. And then the outer border. Yeah, I've got these butterflies to do. But yeah, so we're coming... I think probably at the next Stitching at the Library, what I think in my head what I'm going to do is I will just, whatever I don't get finished, I think I will just come home and try to spend that evening and just finish this side, finish finish this, you know what I mean, finish this for this side, and then it'll be ready to go into my bag of projects that are in need of soft finishes. And then we have my May project, which I didn't get as much done on it as I wanted to, but I made really good progress. So I was doing a Monogamous MIrabilia Maynia, and I was really focusing on, let's actually get this tucked in, my April's Blue Diamond. This is an older MIrabilia. This is MIrabilia number 47, which I've been stitching on for a number of years now. So I was like, it's really time to, you know, see if we can't get this finished. So it's not finished, but I did, oops, make really good progress. So I'm stitching this on a 32 count, picture this plus Aerial Lugana. And when you last saw it, if I've got any technical capabilities, I will try to insert a picture of where it was when I started at the beginning of the month here. But I may not have those technical capabilities, and if not, I'll just say what I had was stitching up to the top of this green part of her dress and the green ribbons. So what I've managed to accomplish in the month of May is I finished all of the cross stitches up to the very top, including this being filled in with white, which is a little hard to see on camera. So I got all of the cross stitching done, and then I got started on the back stitches. So I now have all of the back stitching done up to her waist. And then I did get the metallic back stitching around the outside of the wings done. So there is still more back stitching to go on this. Plus over 1,100 beads left to go. So I'm pleased that I got all of the stitching done. We still have the back stitching to finish plus 1,100 beads. So this is not necessarily going to go away while I'm working on my June project. I will hopefully, whoops, I'm going to poke myself up in the eye with this scroll rod here. So much for safety first. Anyway, this isn't going to go away, so I am hoping that I will be able to, once I've obtained my daily stitching goals for my June project, that I will still have some ability to work on this and move this forward. So this is one of the things that might be putting a crimp in that Jerusalem plan of mine, because it might just come to the point where it's like, if you really just sat down and spent, you know, a good weekend or maybe a couple of days, 2 to 3 days, you could probably, once the back stitching done, it would probably take me a couple of evenings, couple of good weekend days, maybe 3 evenings to get all of the beads done on this. There's a lot of beads. There's still a decent chunk of back stitching left to go, because there's a whole design on this bodice that needs to be back stitched with a whole bunch of lazy daisy stitches and all that kind of stuff. And it's lazy daisy stitches with Krynic, which I have and I will do, and I will like it at the end anyway. But there is my April's Blue Diamond. So I'm pleased with my progress. A little sad that we didn't make it into at least starting the beading. And when I start to do the beading, I will be beading from the bottom up, because the sheer quantum of beads on the top part is out of control. Trust me, there's still a lot of beads at the bottom, but anyway, there's, like I say, 1,100 beads to go on this thing. But I think there's a decent chance that I will be able to get this project finished in the current year. Okay. Let's talk about stitching at the library. So I have the library booked for Saturday, June the 29th at the Strathcona Library from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The details and the address for that are going to be in the notes section down below. So if you're in the greater Calgary area and you are around and want to stop in for any, all, or a part of that, that would be awesome. We'd love to see you. I know it's the Canada Day long weekend. I get that, but I will say I had a really hard time finding library availability in the month of June. I really thought that with like school ending in towards the end of June that there would maybe be some spaces. So my only other option was a couple of hours on the afternoon of Father's Day. And I went, I don't think that's really going to work well for most people. And I could probably make it work, but depending on how what he's doing, like, I mean, if he decides for Father's Day he wants to go off and do a big climb and hike, like, hey, I hope he has a great day, which means I do have availability. But if he decides not to go, anyway. So I skipped the Father's Day one and said, okay, we're gonna do it on the Saturday of the long weekend. I know, right? It's a long weekend. People may have a lot of plans, but if you are around and you want to join us, we'd love to see you. Even if you just want to stop in and say hi and see what we're working on, that's an option too. So again, Saturday, June the 29th at the Strathcona, it's not Strathcona, at the Signal Hill Library. Oh my goodness, it's like I don't know anything. At the Signal Hill Library from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. If you're around, we'd love to see you. All right, let's talk about plans. So I did spend some time over the past month looking at some plans, looking at my 2025 plan, looking at my 2026 plan. There's a possibility that my 2027 plan is going to get completely changed. Hey, there's no problem with that. It's my plan. I can do what I want with it. So check back later for that one, quite a bit later. But in terms of my 2025 plan, what I thought I would do is I made some decisions around my monthly stitching project. I did the monthly cottage from Country Cottage Needleworks a couple of years ago. I started the Quaker of the Month by From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy last year, which I was not successful at completing. I have 8 of the 12 months complete, but I'm technically short 4. September has been started, but not finished. October, November, December have not been started at all. But I've decided that I should get back to more of that routine that I had going, let's go back a good year and a half, like at the beginning of 2023, where I had specific days that I was working on things and I had a monthly project and then sort of another project that I was focusing on. So I want to get back to that because I felt like I was being more productive, because I was working on more projects and I was getting lots of them into completion. So I had a plan for what my monthly project was going to be, and I put it into markup RXP and looked at the stitch count and went, oh yeah, no, that's too big to be a monthly project. No, that's not going to get finished and that's not going to work out well for this because I'm trying to get back to it. So I've changed that out, and I thought I would tell all of you what my plan is for my monthly project, just in case you want to join me. And so what it is the monthly baskets. Hang on, because I've got photos here. By Cosford Rise Stitchery and I got them on Etsy. So this, I just took sort of a screenshot from their monthly basket series. You can buy them individually. So if you don't like all 12 and you only like certain months, you can just buy the months that you like. If you like, they've grouped them into collections of 3 months at a time. It's like December, January, February is one group, and then March, April, May. So just don't expect it to be January, February, March, because it's not that. So they are available on Etsy. Let me know in the comment section down below if you want to stitch these with me. I have put them all into Markup RXP. They're all ready to go. I'm neurotic. Oh, sorry, that was one of the pages, and then this is the other one. Like I say, whoops, because it's light, there's glare. I will put a link to the Cosford Rise Stitchery Etsy shop, and probably to the monthly basket collection, because they do have a subheading, so you get to see all of them. So if you're interested in that, let me know. So I got them all into Markup RXP. That took me a whole evening. I put them all into Markup RXP while I was listening to something. And then, you know, because I like a good spreadsheet, I then went in, because it does call for a lot of colors and it does call for overdyed. However, there are DMC equivalents, and I would say on these, if you don't have them and you don't want to spend the money, don't worry about it. The DMC equivalents, I'm sure, are going to work out just fine. There are certain colors, so I took all of the colors because I had it in Markup RXP, and then I put them into a spreadsheet by month so I could see exactly how many stitches of each color there was, and to see if colors were used in more than 1 month and all that kind of stuff, and came up with a total number, because there's nothing, you know me, there's nothing like a good spreadsheet for stitching. There are honestly colors that are only used in 1 month that have a grand total of 8 stitches. This many. Do I think you should buy a specialty overdyed fiber for 8 stitches in one pattern? Absolutely, utterly not. They're not even contiguous. They were like all spread out. Like there's no benefit at all. You know, I understand from a design process that, you know, that if you've been given, you know, floss by designers to use, that you're trying to use their floss and put them into charts, and I get that. At 8 stitches though, I think I would have used just a straight up DMC. And in fact, for me myself, when I'm going to stitch these, in that case, I'm not going to be using the overdyed. I am going to be using the DMC. I also used that to come up with a list so that I could see what did I already have in my stash, what was I missing, with an aim to going to the store, and then looking at the overdyed and looking at the stitch counts and sort of saying, is this really worth it to me? So I don't have the final decision on that, but I have my spreadsheet all ready to go. So there you go. Anyway, if you're interested in stitching the monthly baskets by Cosford Rise Stitchery, let me know. If there are enough of you and you think we should put it as a sal, there is an Instagram account that has, if you're doing a stitch along, you can add, essentially, this is a one-stop shop if you want to see all the sals that are going on. Now, you have to go to them and say, hey, here's my sal, for it to show up on the Instagram. I will put a link to that Instagram account. I don't remember what, I think it's like cross-stitch_sal or something. But there's probably more stitch-alongs going on than you think. So if you like a good stitch-along, and there's a variety of them, some of them are all generic, some of them are generic, like pick a chatelaine designs, any chatelaine designs, and work on it on Wednesdays. Some of them are specific, you know, specific individual patterns by designers where it's like we're all stitching the same thing. Some of them are just concepts. So if you're looking for something to maybe join on as some kind of stitch along, I will put a link to that Instagram account and you can go down and have a scroll through that. All right. And then the last thing that I've got for plans, just because I wanted to show you this, after I did the Ujamagramans video where I showed that fabulous Just Nan tulip frame that I got, not surprisingly, I went into the stash and found my copy of the pattern that goes with it. Right, so it's a little tiny thing. It works out to be, I thought it said on here somewhere, it's like, I should be able to do the math, 2 3/4 square. You need to do it on 32 count to get it to fit into this frame. The purple fabrics that I got at Ujamagrammas are not going to work with this, which is totally fine. I have purple fabric in my stash. So I just need to pull all the DMCs for this, and there's more than you'd think. 13 colors of DMC for this sub 3-inch square design. That sounds like Just Nan. So I need to pull that and get the fabric, because once I'm done my butterfly square project, my next stitching at the library is going to be that Pins and Needles by Jeanette Douglas that I got at Ujamagrammas, because again, I'm not going to use the fabric that came in the kit. I'm not going to use the thread that came in the kit. So it's really just about the design. So I need to get my own fabric and pick my own flosses and get that stitched up, because that means that that kit that I bought at Ujamagrammas this year is going to get donated and it's going to be available at the next Ujamagrammas sale. And then once I finish the Pins and Needles one, that's when Tulip time. Actually, see, now that I've said that, how long will it take me to do Pins and Needles? I'll probably continue working on my Deb's Winter Biscornu, and once that's done, I'll work on Tulip time. But I also scanned this in. It's not in Markup RXP yet, but it is ready for me to put into Markup RXP. All right, let's talk Stashquisitions. I feel like I had one more thing, but plans, cost for rise, stitching at the library. Yeah, okay. All right, let's talk about Stashquisitions. Okay, because we are doing the catch up on the Stashquisitioning. So I placed, so this next set is stuff that I got from Embroidery Marketplace last year when they were having their Black Friday sale. They were having, I'm pretty sure it was their Black Friday sale where they were having a discount on in-stock hand-dyed fabrics. And she had 32 count Aerial Picture This Plus Lugana in stock. So I got another piece of that, which is the exact same color that I'm using for April's Blue Diamond, right? So I used a bunch for April's Blue Diamond. This was on sale. This got ordered. She was also given the supply chain issues that people are experiencing with Gloriana silks. She has made the decision to no longer carry Gloriana silks, so she would put what she had in stock on sale. So I picked up a couple of colors that I could see me using. So this is Slate Green and Blue Heron. So it was limited to what she had on hand, so I just sort of went through the colors that that she had and pick the ones that I wanted. And then this was, I had ordered this through her. This is a rainbow gallery for a specific project, and, you know, took a while for it to show up. That project is not yet in the 5-year plan, so it's good that I'm kitting it up, because, you know, over some point over the next 5 years, I can make sure I've got all of the specialty fibers for that. So that was my embroidery marketplace order. Yes, I feel like it was a Black Friday thing, but it was so last year, and we're in June, that I don't exactly remember. And then I had a friend who gave me a really great Christmas birthday gift. She gave me some fabric. It's lovely. So this is from Dying for Cross Stitch. This is 32 count Lugana in the colorway, I'm pretty sure it's, yes, Jupiter Dark. I think it's lovely. So that is one of the pieces. And then she also gave me Jupiter Dark again, but I'll show this one and then I'll put them side by side. This is Jupiter Dark on 40 count Verdal. So a lot lighter. And she's got really good descriptions on her website about how these colors look on different fabrics. So there you go. There's the difference. So it's both, right? So she's using the same dye, but the two different fabrics take the dye very differently. So this is Jupiter Dark in 32 count Lugana, and 40 count Verdal is the light one. I still like both of them. So I'm very happy with that acquisition. It was a gift. So I'm thank you to my friend who gave that to me as a Christmas birthday present. All right. Then I had, I put in a 1, 2, 3 stitch order and picked up, it's the randomest of random things. And a couple of these things, some of you may go, that was a Nashville release. And the answer is it wasn't a Nashville release for me, because when I put this order in with 1, 2, 3 stitch in February before Nashville market. So I will acknowledge that there are a couple of items in here that you may have seen as being like Nashville releases, but I did get them from 1, 2, 3 stitch before Nashville market even occurred. So anyway. So from October House, I picked up Strawberry Fair. I was on a little bit of a hands-on to design kick of what am I missing from my collection. So I got Stitch in the Garden. Good grief. Oh, Christmas 3. Now, this is interesting. The called for colors, I haven't looked inside to see if she's got DMC equivalents. The called for fibers for this are Color and Cotton, which 1, 2, 3 stitch did not have. And I think at some point I checked, because you can order directly from Color and Cotton now, but they didn't have any of these colors in stock. Yeah, she's got DMC equivalents. But anyway. Here we go. Put it back the way it's supposed to be. So picked up Oh Christmas 3. Then from Running with Needles and Scissors, the Noel buttons. And in order to make the word love, you only needed the letter V added. So technically the design in this chart has N-O-E-L and V, so you can make both words. Really, I bought it so that I can make the word Noel complete with this button with the little tree. I think for the word love, yeah, she gave you another one so you could do the heart. And we all know I've already purchased the Scrabble tile holders to put these on. Then from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery, yes, usually I just call them Pansy Patch, a lovely Canadian designer. This is her stitch pattern. This may be being currently worked into the 5-year plan as we speak. And then from Sue Hillis, got Keepsake Book 2. I already had Book 1 and Book 3, and while I was there, and I was like, you know, this was sitting in my wish list, and I was just like, you should really just, you know, just get Book 2 and be done with it. So this is, yes, right. So this is, I think this is Book 1, this is Book 2, this is Book 3. Now, the thing that you don't see on here is that there is another design that is, so Keepsakes is a stitching store in Ohio near Cincinnati. See, I should know what the name of the suburb is that they're part of, but anyway, they are the people that put on StitchCon, which is, this was StitchCon weekend A, so I'm waiting anxiously to see everybody's recaps of how StitchCon went, to see what's on the brag table and see all the things that people bought. I love watching those, so there should be a plethora of Flosstube videos coming out about StitchCon A. Of course, next weekend will be StitchCon Weekend B, so I'm following that. There will be a bunch more, and I will probably watch a whole chunk of them just to see, because everybody's take is different, and who they met and who they saw and what they did and what they bought. I want to see all of it. So Keepsakes, this was originally designed for Keepsakes, and I think it was like you could, if you went into the store, you got one of these a month. She's now released them for everybody. But at Keepsakes, when you're at Keepsakes, you can get the Keepsakes. There's a whole design that has the Keepsakes shop at the top. And I bought that when I went to StitchCon in 2021, 2022, one of those years. Probably 2022. Yeah, I think it was 2022 I went. Anyway, so I got that while I was there. So when I stitch these, I am planning on doing the Keepsakes house at the top plus all of these. But just in case you're wondering, there's 12 of these, there's 12 months in a year. Just saying, you might figure out where I'm going with that. And then while I was in looking at things on my wish list, I was like going, this has been in my wish list for a long, long time. And I just went, just bite the bullet. I think this is a beautiful design. Will I ever really stitch it? I don't know, but I just had that moment. It's like, I would rather have it in my stash so that I can stitch it when I want to. Because you just never know when you get in a mood for something. And, you know, as you can tell, because I'm revisiting my 5-year plan, moving everything around and booting things out of the plan and bringing other things in and all sorts of things. It's a big stitch. It also comes with a design for this. Yeah, so 230 by 290. It's a big stitch. But yeah, anyway. And then, just because I'm trying to do a little bit of catch up, Traditional Stitches, which is a store just outside of Calgary in Bearspaw. The owner of that store, Janice, goes to the Nashville market, and I had seen that Haystack Stitching from England was coming to Nashville, so I put in an order with Traditional saying, could you please pick up this chart for me? This is an older chart. Haystack Stitching, because it's UK, you know, international shipping is, you know, not the best. Anyway, she was already going. Haystack Stitching was going to Nashville. Janice was going to Nashville. It all worked out really well. And so she picked up for me The pattern is called Lilibet. And so this design gives you the design to make this pillow, as well as this scissor fob, which is double-sided. So you've got 1926, which is the year she was born, and 2022, which is the year she passed away. Now, I really wanted this because I had already purchased from Heron Stitchery, and if you're interested in this one, I still think Heron has some of these. This is Charles. So I felt that they made nice companion pieces. Do I know when I'm stitching these? No. Heron, of course, I got when I placed that order that my lovely aunt and uncle, who are snowbirds, brought back for me. And this one came because Janice was going to Nashville, so she brought this one back for me. So that was great. So those are my Stashquisitions for this episode. And like I say, I forgot to bring any of the crocheting projects in for you. I will tell you right now, one of them is a finished object. One of them is one that I crocheted half of it and was unhappy and ripped it out and made some changes to the pattern and crocheted it again. And I'm at the point where I'm still not happy with it. And I've just decided it's time to stop working on it and rip it out. So yeah, I won't rip it out before my next video, because it's totally fine, because I'm not going to work on it the way it is. I'm not happy with how it's working. So I will stop that. I have decided from a crochet perspective, I have 2 Christmas presents that I want to give this Christmas that are crochet projects. So I need to get working on those. So I figure if I start them now, I'm pretty sure that they are going to be done before December. And in fact, one of them needs to be ready on or before December the 1st, because it needs to be given as an Advent gift. Anyway, so I don't know that you'll necessarily see those until I've gifted them, so you may not actually see them, but I will be dutifully crocheting away on them, because I decided better to get them done sooner, right? That makes sense. All right, with that, that's all I have for you for this episode. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's getting some stitching in. I will tell you, I could have shown it, but I have chosen not to show it because it's not quite at a point where it will make sense yet. But I have started a brand new project for the month of June, and I'm very happy as of now. If you'd asked me 3 days ago, I was mostly happy except for one thing. I had one problem and I solved it this weekend. So now I'm very happy with my project. It is coming along fabulously well. I started this project and looked at the stitch count in Markup RXP and went, you're never going to finish in the month of, you're never going to finish it in the month, but at least you will have started it, which is the point. I wanted to work on this project. So getting it started was good enough for me, but I have made so much progress already. We are only at June 9th, and I'm very, very happy with my progress on this. It's coming along fabulously well, so it will be very interesting when I do my next Flosstube and I get to talk to you about that. So big teaser for the next one. And when I said Markup, it reminds me, I watched Shiloh, Stitching MD. I'll put a link to her channel down below. I watched her most recent video, and it was really interesting because she had some commentary on her experience with Pattern Keeper and Markup RXP. I'm not going to tell you what she said because it's her experience and you should hear it from her. But as someone who well, actually at this point in time, I only use Markup RXP. I started with Markup RXP. I did get Pattern Keeper, but because in a lot of instances, what I'm doing is I am taking paper charts and scanning them in and then trying to get them into a stitching app. Right now, with the way the two apps are working, there are ones that I scanned in that I could never get to actually work properly in Pattern Keeper, where I could get them to work in Markup RXP. And that was my experience very early when I was using the two apps. And because I couldn't get them into one and I could get them into the other one, I of course used the other one, which is Markup RXP. And quite frankly, as most people do, if you start on one and that's the one that you're most comfortable, you tend to stick with that because that's what you know, and it's harder to make the adjustments to learn a different app. But Markup RXP has made some changes, which in certain things have made it, there are some features now that they didn't have before that make it similar to what functionality that you get in Pattern Keeper. But again, I'm sticking with Markup RXP because I am bringing in patterns that I'm scanning in. They're not originating as PDF charts that are Pattern Keeper compatible. So some of them I could get into Pattern Keeper where I could mark them off, but you couldn't search for the symbol. And that's really one of the things I'm like about Markup RXP, and normally what happens in Pattern Keeper is that you can search for the symbol and you can find all of them. When you're scanning in a paper copy and bringing it into Pattern Keeper, if you can get it to load, some of mine wouldn't load. Some of them I could get to load. So you can mark them off, but you can't search for the symbol. And I really want that search functionality. So I'm really still sticking with Markup RXP because I can get my scans in and get them to work properly. So, but you should go and watch Shiloh's one because you'll get to see everything that she's stitching and knitting. I just found it really interesting to hear her commentary on her experience with both Markup RXP and Pattern Keeper. So I will put a link to that specific episode in the notes section down below. You should go check her out. Yeah, you know, she does lots of things. I feel like she's more productive than me, but anyway, never mind that. It's not a race. It is not a competition. We all have things going on and stuff. And this is supposed to be our hobby and things that we do for mental health and for fun and enjoyment. So it's not a race. It's not a competition. But sometimes I feel like, you know, other people are finishing more things than me. Anyway, we're fine. Okay, with that, I'm really going to wrap it up. I hope everybody's doing well. As always, thinking of the people of the Ukraine. I can't believe that we are over 2 years and the status of things. I was watching, I was listening to something, it was a book. I was listening to a book and it was set and it was talking about the conflict. And I was like going, man, I can't believe that it's 2 years later and we're still talking about the conflict. Anyway, so thinking of the people of the Ukraine, as always, I hope everybody's staying safe. We are coming up with summer. All sorts of things happen in summer. Please, let's be safe around water, whether it's, you know, lakes, oceans, seas, pools. I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope everybody's staying healthy. I hope everybody's finding some time to do some stitching. Don't forget, if you're in the greater Calgary area, if you can join us on June the 29th at the Signal Hill Library. And I look forward to seeing you on my next Flosstube, which will hopefully be recording shortly after that library escapade. Take care.